Chapter 2: Cairo and the Pyramids. Mava travels with Leandra to the monk village on the boat they found earlier. The monks find them at the shore and help them get their bearings. The monks listen to Leandra's story and, in return, explain what they know of the city of Cairo. Feeling grateful, Leandra asks the monks how she can pay them back for their kindness. The group of monks ponders for a moment, considering ways they could contribute to their village and way of life. One of the monks, named Casney, tells Leandra and Mava of a prophecy. There are supposed to be ones who come here from other stars, Casney says. Ones who bring the power of the stars to the people. Before Casney can finish her story, Race comes into the cave room. Leandra, there's much more to learn in these caves than what we've discovered so far, Race says. But I think this is something you should do alone. Why alone? Leandra asks, tilting her head slightly while glancing over at Mava. I know that Mava may have done things that could have put me in danger, but she has no reason to. Before she can finish her sentence, Race interrupts. This has nothing to do with you, Mava, Race says. I think you're the best one to investigate the caves we haven't been able to penetrate yet. Race waits for Leandra's response, but she doesn't say anything. I did say I wanted to return the favor, Leandra says, agreeing. It's fine, Leandra, Mava says. I can wait at the entrance of the cave in case you need me. Race takes Mava and Leandra to a different part of the caves Leandra hasn't seen yet. Mava leans against the rocks at the entrance and waits while Leandra enters the new area. She moves cautiously through the rocky caves and slowly descends into the lower levels. She runs into a few dark-looking creatures that attack her when she moves too close. Using the fighting skills she remembered from her last 2 battles, she easily fends off the little creatures. The whole time, as she moves through the caves, she senses something energetic below her. She walks into a rounded room where she sees 3 suits of armor standing across from each other. I don't see anyone inside the armor. Looking closely, she notices she can't see a human body, yet the armor remains standing on its own. Slowly, the hands and arms of the armor begin to move until they are fully walking inside the cave. The armors come toward Leandra, attempting to grab her with their metallic hands. Leandra ducks and weaves through the moving armor and attempts to find a safe place to run. She notices a large, bright pink crystal lodged in one of the armored suits. She thinks for a moment that she can hear someone inside it. Did I just hear someone in there? Each time Leandra blinks, she sees what appears to be a giant blue and white star. She places her hand on her chest, and a greenish-yellow aura emanates from her body. She summons powerful winds to blow back the armored guards into the cave walls, causing them to collapse into a pile of metal. Leandra looks at one of the fallen pieces and notices an amulet with a large pink crystal in the middle. What is this? Leandra asks herself as she clasps the amulet in her hand. Is this what I was hearing earlier? Leandra searches the walls for a way further into the caves until she sees one of them shift and reveal another passageway. She enters the next room and sees a large white prism in the middle before she loses consciousness and slowly collapses to the floor. Well, here is a new face. Leandra hears an unfamiliar woman's voice in her mind. Who are you? Leandra asks the voice in her mind. I'm Vorsha, Vorsha replies. But that's just my name. Let me show you who I am. Leandra sees images in her mind of a woman in a red and black outfit with shoulder-length dark brown hair. That's me. I have reached out to you before in your mind, and you finally found me. Leandra sees other images from Vorsha's past. She remembers hearing Vorsha's voice in her mind before, guiding her to safety. She also sees memories of Vorsha running from people who chased her into the cave they're in now. She sees Vorsha escape into the room, surrounded by people with weapons pointed at her. In a panic, Vorsha touches the prism in the middle of the room. A flare of pink and red light envelops the room, temporarily blinding everyone as Vorsha disappears. Leandra wakes up, sitting on the floor next to the large prism she saw in her mind. She looks at the palm of her hand and sees a golden amulet with a red and pink jewel in the middle. At least I found this, Leandra says to herself. Maybe this is what the monks wanted me to find here? She gets up and looks at the large prism crystal in front of her in the middle of the room. How intriguing! Leandra looks at the amulet in her hand. She notices the cave starting to rumble and small rocks falling from the ceiling. Oh no, I need to get out of here. Wait, please! Leandra hears Vorsha's voice in her mind again. Bring the amulet to me, and I will help you. Leandra looks around and notices more boulders falling from above. Without thinking, Leandra touches the amulet to the large prism and sees a large shimmer of red light. Now run! Vorsha yells in Leandra's mind. Leandra runs out of the room and out of the cave as quickly as she can. The cave continues to shake and crumble. She escapes, running out where she sees Mava still waiting near the entrance. They see Dabu shooting at the cave walls from outside. Rocks splinter and fly off the caves as they begin to collapse. Hurry! Mava yells. They both run through a different section of the caves, semi-open at the top to the night sky. They can see Dabu running above them and firing. They dodge the rocks and debris exploding and flying around them. No! Leandra shouts. She stops and looks up at Dabu not far above them. She holds out her hand and fires a gust of wind, which blows the gun out of Dabu's hands. A greenish-yellow aura emanates from Leandra's body as she continues to push gusts of wind toward Dabu. Dabu jumps down through the opening above them in the cave. Mava and Leandra fight Dabu for some time, but he's much too quick and strong to be struck down easily. Hold me up! Leandra hears Vorsha's voice in her mind. Mava looks over at the amulet, hearing Vorsha's voice in her mind as well. Leandra holds out the amulet, and Vorsha's body briefly appears emanating from it. Vorsha channels a powerful zap of pink energy at Dabu, thrusting him into the distance, where he lands somewhere in a sand dune. Then, as quickly as she appears, Vorsha disappears. Leandra and Mava look around for Dabu, but he is nowhere in sight. Mava grabs the amulet and picks it up. Vorsha continues to speak into Leandra and Mava's minds, revealing that the mystical woman in the caves is her, and that she is now inside the crystal. I saw that you two needed help, so I did what I could, Vorsha says. Leandra and Mava look around and see that they're no longer in the desert, but in a room filled with red and pink energy. They're floating in the air, unable to see any ground beneath them or sky above. Where are we? Leandra asks. You're in the realm of the mind, Vorsha says. I created this space so we can talk. There's nothing you need to be afraid of. Why did you help us? Mava asks. You two brought me out of my prison, Vorsha says. Well, it didn't start off as a prison, but I've been stuck in here for a long time now. Months? Years? I don't even know at this point, but I knew you two needed help from that cat. Are you stuck in this realm? Leandra asks. I'm not totally sure, but I know my body isn't exactly working like it used to, Vorsha says. I can appear outside the crystal for a moment, but I'm really only energy in the form of a human. As quickly as I manifest myself, I disappear. Well, this is weird, Mava says. But maybe this could be useful to us, Leandra. Please, hang on to the amulet and take me with you, Vorsha asks. I don't want to be stuck in that cave anymore. I promise to help you both whenever you need it. It keeps getting weirder, Mava says. Of course, Vorsha, Leandra says. Maybe we can help figure out how to get you out of this mental realm. Thank you, Vorsha says with excitement. Reach out to me in your mind if you ever want to talk with me. Leandra and Mava leave the mind realm and return to full control of their bodies. Leandra tucks away Vorsha's amulet, and together they return to the monk village. As they enter the monk village, Race sees them and takes interest in Leandra's newly found amulet. He says the amulet resembles Egyptian hieroglyphics, which are no longer used. He suggests the artifact should be investigated further to find out why it was left in the cave. Mava is hesitant, but realizes she has nowhere else to go. Leandra feels indebted to the monks for helping her and decides to follow Race's suggestion. They take the amulet and use a boat to get back to the sewer routes near the Nile, leading into the slums of Cairo. They end up at the Great Pyramids of Egypt, where drug addicts and drifters litter the pyramids and the Sphinx. They enter the pyramids after Vorsha reveals a secret entrance concealed by rocks. Leandra notices that the farther they go in, the fewer people are around. They enter a room with a circular orifice in the middle. Mava recognizes some of the hieroglyphics on the walls and attempts to decipher them. She knows a little about ancient texts from when she used to steal and trade them as artifacts. Eventually, she figures out through the hieroglyphics how to use the room. They place Vorsha's amulet in the middle of the room, and it unlocks a spherical device that falls from the roof. Leandra touches it and realizes it's a primitive 3D holographic device. They see images of an ancient place unfamiliar to them with people they've never seen. Where are these places? Leandra asks Mava. Do you recognize any of this? Mava looks at the holographic images and shakes her head. The room rumbles, and they see a holographic image of Dabu entering the pyramid not far from them. They find another way out than how they came in to avoid Dabu's path, setting off traps along the way. A room behind them caves in, and they think Dabu has stopped his pursuit, but discover he is behind them, right on their trail. Look! The Queen's army's all around us! Mava yells. From all sides, military agents pop out and attempt to ambush them. Vorsha tells Leandra in her mind that she has more power than she realizes and that she's been holding back. Trusting Vorsha's words, Leandra uses all her energy to pummel powerful winds at Dabu, forcing him to the floor. I didn't want to hurt you, Leandra says as she walks towards Dabu's unconscious body. Leandra and Mava are relieved yet nerve-wracked. Mava knows Dabu works for the royal Cairo family, the pharaoh and the queen. She is worried and angry that they have no way out of Cairo without the sewers. "We can't go back through the sewers," Mava informs them. "The Queen and Pharaoh are obviously tracking us, and if we go all the way back to the monk village, they'll probably find them and attack them. There must be somewhere else we can go," Vorsha says in their minds. "The slums," Mava replies. "We can hide out in the slums as long as we need until we can get out of here without being tracked." Ugh. Dabu mumbles as he slowly awakens. "Go!" Mava shouts to Leandra as they run out of the pyramid. Outside, they find someone with a boat announcing that he gives rides into town. Mava pays the man, and they go with him into the city of Cairo. As they're leaving, Leandra looks up atop a cliff and thinks she sees someone with a long cape staring at them. She looks away and taps Mava on the shoulder. When Mava turns to look where Leandra points, the figure is gone. They're able to take a taxi to a place in the inner city of Cairo called the Strip Top. It's a bustling shopping center. People from all walks of life move about in colorful garments, some in fine clothing, some with hardly any clothing at all. The taxi driver drops them off at a designated spot, then hovers away deeper into the city. Mava looks around, remembering the Strip Top and why she doesn't like it. "Ugh, too flashy," she says, shaking her head. They try to find a way out of Cairo since they have no other way home. No taxi goes outside the inner city. It's too dangerous and unprofitable. They arrive at a clothing store named Fajul. A woman who works there as an attendant looks them up and down, then gives them a nasty scowl. Vorsha's amulet hovers off in the store and upstairs to the VIP penthouse, but the attendant doesn't seem to notice. Mava and Leandra try to follow, but the attendant cuts in and says, "Didn't you know that's for VIP members only?" "Oh, I apologize. I meant to go this way," Leandra replies. She walks over to the dressing room area, with Mava following closely behind. Leandra continues walking and bumps into a customer coming out of the dressing room. The very upset woman says, "Excuse you, how rude. What are you wearing? That is so unseemly." Mava gets angry, but Leandra just shakes it off. The rude woman walks further into the store to look for more clothes to try on. Mava comes up with a plan to get upstairs and retrieve Vorsha, even though the attendant won't let them up. They try on new clothing from the mannequins while the attendant isn't looking. Leandra notices that the rude woman they ran into earlier left her pants with a key card on the table outside the dressing room. "Oh no, what am I doing?" Leandra says to herself while looking at the key card. She uses her powers to slightly blow the woman's pants closer to her. She then grabs the card and blows the pants back close to where they were before. "Let's go," Leandra says to Mava and Vorsha. They leave the dressing room and walk up the stairwell again, where the attendant once again stops them. "Didn't I say that you couldn't go up there unless you're VIP?" Leandra cuts her off and shows the VIP card she stole earlier. The attendant is surprised. "Oh, sorry, miss, She reads the card. "Victoria Carring. Should I put the clothes on your tab?" "Yes," Leandra replies. The attendant shakes her head in embarrassment as they walk upstairs. "How'd you get a card?" Mava asks. "Yes, I did what you probably think I did," Leandra says ashamedly. "I took it from that woman's pants when she was trying on clothes." "Ha! barks! Mava laughs in response. I can deal with the guilt later, Leandra replies. At the Royal Cairo Palace, Queen Rondage and Pharaoh Gahiji of Egypt are convening. A short-haired, stern-looking woman dressed militantly enters. Dabu hasn't returned, and he hasn't communicated with me for many hours now, Colonel Femi says. What? Rondage asks in a fury. Colonel, Gahiji says. Yes, sire, Femi replies. We need you to take over the reins, Gahiji demands. Dabu and his goons were worthless. I knew they'd fail, Rondage gloats. I'll do as you ask, Pharaoh, Colonel Femi confirms. Back at the strip top, Leandra and Mava arrive upstairs in the penthouse area. They overhear people talking and find Vorsha's amulet. Mava figures out how to use the VIP card to get money out of a credit machine, and tiny energy cells come out. Leandra opposes taking them, but Mava feels no remorse about using someone else's credits. Leandra eventually gives in, and they take the cells. They start moving toward the stairs when they hear the real Victoria Carring yelling downstairs. They find a back stairwell out of the department store and leave. They change clothes in a closet before heading back onto the strip-top plaza. They go shopping and see images of the ruling pharaoh and the royal family. They find a taxi and escape with the energy cells they took earlier. The taxi takes off, but one of the pharaoh's agents approaches in a hovercar. They notice Leandra and Mava in their outfits and match them with the image they're after. The pharaoh's agent's hovercar chases them. When they finally lose the agent, they approach the sauna building, dilapidated and run down. While there, they brainstorm ways to get back to the monk village. Mava informs them that taxis never go there because of how dangerous it is. They decide to lie low and find another way out. While there, Mava swears she sees her father, whom she thought was dead. They try to track him down and end up at an old abandoned apartment complex. Mava searches but doesn't find her father. Feeling tired, she and Leandra rest in an abandoned unit. When they wake, Mava sees her father grasping at her armlet with the coin on it. She yanks back her arm. Her band stays on her wrist, but the coin is snatched off. Dad! Mava says angrily. He runs off. Leandra and Mava chase after him. They see him get into a taxicab and fly away. Dad! Mava yells, frustrated and confused. They look at Vorsha's amulet and see something hovering in front of it. He must have dropped this, Leandra says. She grabs the small metallic device hovering there. It's a telesponder, Mava says. Leandra can tell Mava is holding in anger. We can use it to call a cab. Watch. She recalibrates the module and they hail a cab. The man who appeared to be her father also dropped some energy cells which they use to pay for the ride. Mava says they should go to a place called Cairo because she knows people there. When they arrive, Leandra immediately senses that the place is dangerous. Mava wanders off and greets some people she recognizes. They meet gangsters from different tribes and find weapon shops. Leandra realizes there are many opportunities to earn money in this district. Some of the pharaoh's agents attempt to apprehend them, but together they begin to handle themselves and fend them off. Mava finds a building she last worked in, and her passcodes still work. When they enter, they feel threatened. Mava sees one of her friends, Chaths. He explains he's in hiding and has lost all of his connections since Dabu was destroyed. He knows a woman named Colonel Femi has taken over since Dabu is gone. At the royal palace, Colonel Femi looks out a tower window and says, "We've found them, the ones who destroyed Dabu. Did you get them? Where are they?" Queen Randage asks. Colonel Femi assures her they'll be apprehended. She knows there is no safe way out of the inner city. "You know that we are impatient," Queen Randage says, staring intently at Colonel Femi. "Don't worry," Femi replies. Back at Cairo, Chaths explains the situation. The colonel is looking for them. Leandra questions why they were being tracked in the first place. She feels separated, trying to remember who she is and why she was in the middle of the desert. Mava thinks to herself and suspects Chaths must have snitched. "You told her I lost my bounty!" Mava yells. "I had to. I would be a goner in no time if I hadn't." Chaths replies. Leandra wonders who they are talking about. "The one who wanted you alive? Her name is Madam C. I met her when we first came to Cairo at the broadcasting district," Mava explains. "Why?" Leandra asks. "They don't tell, and we don't ask questions. She probably works for the royal family. There was a huge crater around you where you supposedly passed out in the desert. That sounds fishy to me. Things like that draw attention, especially so close to Cairo." Leandra feels alone again, unsure whether to continue with Mava and risk her life. After some thought, she knows what she wants to ask. "I need your help, Mava. Please," Leandra says. Leandra tells Chaths they're trying to return to the monk village outside the outer city and in the caves. Mava almost reacts in anger, but realizes nothing she does now will regain the mob's or Madam C's trust. "I'm in this till we leave Cairo," Mava tells Leandra. Leandra shakes her hand in agreement. Chaths suggests going to the tavern tower to find a merchant leaving the city and hitch a ride out. Leandra suggests the way she found out before in the broadcasting district. Chaths objects, stating it's a hotspot for the pharaoh's and queen's dark agents. Mava strongly agrees. They go to the tavern tower in Chath's hovercar, and he drops them off. Merchants and mischief surround them. Unique weapons, armor, and items are cheaper here. They find a gem merchant who trades with the monk village. He offers a ride for a price. They must finish a transaction with the Sisters of Dance, who perform at the podium in the center of the tavern tower. They need to get back the gems they borrowed from him. "Consider it done," Mava tells the merchant. Leandra is startled but agrees it's possible. They reach the center podium and see the sisters. The Sisters of Dance introduce themselves to the audience.
"Yaya! Kiki!"
the women shout. Leandra sees the gems on the floor, wrapped in a scarf. She asks Vorsha to snatch them when the women aren't looking. Vorsha retrieves them inconspicuously. "Good strategy," Mava says. They split the gems between them, and sneak back to the merchant. As they approach his stand, they check the gems. "Here's your—" Leandra begins, when they notice all of the gems are missing. "Girls?" the merchant asks.
Yaya!
Yaya shouts, leaping forward. She lands a kick on Leandra, knocking her backward.
Kiki!
Kiki yells. She jumps and kicks Mava to the ground.
Never get in the way of our precious gems,
the women say, switching between their words. "They're not yours!" the merchant yells.
Bye-bye!
Yaya and Kiki say, giggling. They run off with the gems they snatched. "Oh no, they didn't!" Mava yells as she gets back to her feet. "Ugh!" Leandra groans. "Who cares?" Vorsha asks. "Let's find another way." Vorsha hovers toward the Sisters of Dance. "Vorsha!" Mava and Leandra yell, running after her amulet. The sisters dash toward the edge of the building. They jump off, and Vorsha hovers after them. A large, metallic airship rises and catches them. "Vorsha!" Mava and Leandra yell as they reach the edge. The airship rises.
Your stupid floating trinket doesn't quit, does it?
Yaya shouts. Boom! The airship shakes.
Hey!
Yaya yells.
Stupid ship!
Kiki yells. Jump, Mava! Leandra shouts as she prepares to lunge off the building. You're crazy, Mava says, hesitating. But so am I. Mava and Leandra jump onto the ship, knocking the Sisters of Dance onto the floor. The women strike them again and drive them into a corner, along with Vorsha. Are you okay, Vorsha? Leandra asks. Vorsha replies, I'm unaffected. The women attempt their combo kick again, but Mava grabs an extinguisher hose and fogs up the cargo hold. Come on, Leandra! Mava yells. Mava readies her weapon. The fog blows out of the airship, but the sisters see it this time. Mava and Leandra are ready for action. They battle, all the while Vorsha hovers in the control room, noticing that the stabilizers are critical. Vorsha figures out how to activate the autopilot to a location. They land at a place called the Incinerator Tower. Vorsha finds a way off the ship to the hangar bay of the Incinerator Tower, with the four women still battling. Vorsha says, These women are tough, and I think we've left the Merchant Tower. Let's go! They escape the ship after knocking out the sisters. They take the gems, but as they jump off the ship, Yaya and Kiki snatch them back.
These are our emeralds. We stole them fair and square.
The sisters laugh as the ship cruises out of the hangar bay into the city. Leandra and Mava look for Vorsha's amulet. Vorsha gets into the security room where she sees that the security attendant is sleeping. She unlocks the door for them. Leandra and Mava hear a door unlock, open it, and find Vorsha behind it. You stinker, Mava says. Let's find a way out of here, Leandra says in a defeated voice, but still with a glimmer of hope. Inside the Incinerator Tower, there are people, parks with winding trees, and an obvious mediocre quality of life, yet upscale compared to their previous stops. Towers of holographic fire burn outside, fueled by cell generators to keep light, warmth, and energy inside the tower. Mava, Leandra, and Vorsha explore the place. They meet residents and learn more about Cairo. They explore different taverns and talk with some of the locals. Mava notices that the royal guards in the area are scarce and lazy. The three of them help people who ask for assistance with small tasks. In a tavern, Mava sees the Scorcher leader, Ellis, and some of his gang, whom they had fought before in the desert. Ellis! Mava shouts as she enters the room. Mava, you're just the girl we're looking for. You and your friend, Ellis replies. You two are very wanted women. The Colonel herself wants you, which means the Queen wants you too. Ellis signals to his men to go after Leandra and Mava. Leandra, Mava, and Vorsha run away, falling back to different parts of the tower. More and more Scorchers appear everywhere they go. Mava leads them down a hallway, where they run into a woman who lets them into her room, then locks the door. The heavy metallic doors seal with a booming sound as they shut. The Scorchers attempt to use their weapons to break through, but they can't. Leandra and Mava stop for a moment to catch their breath. Leandra stuffs Vorsha's amulet into her shirt to hide it. The woman who let them in stands fully upright, revealing long, flowing blonde hair and a blue jumpsuit. Mava explains that they're attempting to leave the city but can't find a way back into the desert to escape. The blonde woman leads them farther inside and explains she has a contact from another city who is here at the Emerald Amphitheater and might be able to help them. The woman sings lightly under her breath, and Leandra smiles, enjoying the beautiful music. My name is Jindai, but people call me Jen. Jindai explains. I'm stuck singing here as the backup singer for the superstar Oksana. Here, you look like you could use this. She gives them an electronic map that can track where she is. I've seen those Scorchers before. I wish someone would just get them out of Cairo already. Jindai walks to a large window and presses the side of it. The window pops out slightly, with just enough room for someone to slip through. Use the tracking device to keep track of me. You can go out this way and not be detected by those thugs. Why are you helping us? Leandra asks Jindai. If the Scorchers are so hell-bent on tracking you, that must mean you're doing something right. Jindai replies. I don't like people being picked on. If I can help at least one person, then I think it's worth it. Look, we really appreciate this, Jen, Mava tells Jindai as she slides through the window opening. We really appreciate this, Leandra says. She looks directly into Jindai's eyes as she speaks. She sees memories in her mind of a beautiful woman with wings. Leandra shakes her head, then heads out the window. Hopefully, I can see you two again, Jindai says. Maybe you can even see me perform. Leandra nods, then climbs out the window, following Mava. Leandra and Mava traverse the ladders outside the building and climb to the top. Mava hails a taxi at the roof, but he says he only goes to the Emerald Amphitheater. Fine, please, Mava says, shutting the cab door as soon as Leandra enters. Please, take us there. At the Royal Palace, Colonel Femi receives a transmission from Ellis. He informs her that he failed. Angry, Femi reluctantly walks to the throne to report to the pharaoh. The pharaoh and the queen are clearly displeased. But I assure you, I'll find a way to apprehend them, Colonel Femi says, bowing her head, then looking up. It is formidable and made solely for combat. The eldest Princess Ain cuts in. I can take them. Let me take care of this nuisance. The pharaoh and queen laugh. Oh, you're a princess, not a commander. Queen Rondage cackles while sitting on her throne. Besides, sending you out would be too much of a risk. We need you here, at the palace. Why? Aine asks, adjusting her necklace and earrings nervously.
I don't even remember the last time I've left this palace.
The world is full of horrible dangers and horrible people, Queen Rondage says intently. There are many out there who would take advantage of you. Ugh! Aine says, shaking her head. She hides the tears dripping from her face. She runs out of the throne room and walks through the palace hallways. Colonel Femi glances at Aine as she passes and smiles slightly. Leandra, Mava, and Vorsha land at the Emerald Amphitheater. They attempt to get in but discover the tickets are sold out. They take out the electronic map and see Jindai's general location. They find a telesponder and leave Jindai a message that they're in the area. Walking around the building, they look for another way into the Emerald Amphitheater. Mava notices Vorsha's amulet dimming while she holds it and assumes that it's Vorsha's way of falling asleep. Leandra suggests they find a place to rest. The Emerald Hotel is open to the public, so they go there and get a room. Mava brings food to their hotel room from the dining lobby. Vorsha's amulet lights up again and hovers toward the exit, with Leandra and Mava following. They find her hovering through the open amphitheater doors. The attendants run after Vorsha's amulet while Mava and Leandra run in and hide. Mava hides in the bathroom, Leandra in the coat closet. Leandra hears someone talking about the amulet and wonders why it is floating. She grabs a fancy coat and walks out to claim the amulet as hers. The attendants are confused, but give it to her. Leandra finds Mava in the bathroom and gives her a disguise from the closet. They walk down the hall and see a sign pointing to the pharaoh's room. The lights change and they hear an announcement that the show is starting. They walk into the amphitheater seating and see the live show. They watch the pop superstar Oksana perform, with Jindai as one of her backup singers. Vorsha taps into Leandra's mind as Leandra dozes off for a second during the performance. This isn't safe. I can sense immense danger, Vorsha tells Leandra in her mind. Leandra wakes up. The show is almost over and Jindai is gone along with the other backup singers. Mava and Leandra leave with Vorsha before the performance ends. They see Jindai walking down a corridor ahead of them and decide to follow her. They follow, but the door locks behind her, leading to another hallway. Leandra checks her coat pockets and finds an electronic key. Luckily, it unlocks the corridor. They run, following the map Jindai had given them. When they arrive at the last hallway connecting to Jindai's room, a huge metallic robot crashes through the hallway window. It attacks Leandra and Mava, swiping at them with its robotic arms. It announces itself as
Con-12L
in a robotic voice and proclaims that it has been sent to dispose of them. They run down the hallways, all doors locked except one, a supply room. Con-12L follows them there. Mava sees containers labeled with a picture that looks like ice. She slams them one by one onto the ground toward the robot, which shoots freezing gas into the room. Con-12L slowly freezes into place, unable to move. They run back toward Jindai's room, narrowly dodging the gas. As they approach, they hear her singing a beautiful ballad. Jindai is startled and lifts her arms for a moment, then stops singing. Vorsha focuses her energy on Jindai's mind to speak with her telepathically. Mava and Leandra look on in shock, noticing what is happening, because until then, Vorsha had only spoken to them. "Wait, what is happening?" Jindai asks. "Please, we need your help," Vorsha says to Jindai in her mind. Jindai takes them into her room where they explain the situation. She shares her desire to escape her life and the evil she knows surrounds them. She sings to bring people happiness and as a way of surviving. She came from a place in the south called Zumaridi Imgi, but tours Africa with Oksana. Jindai offers them a ride outside of Cairo, and they thank her, accepting her offer. She wants to rest, but they explain their situation with the robot. They leave together and check on it, but find that it's gone. Jindai says they need to go to the Plaza district where she's staying and can be sanctioned a hover car to Zumaridi Imgi, her home. She wishes to go back to see if she can find her family in South Africa. On their way to the taxi port, a woman stops Leandra for her coat. Jindai steps in, pays for the coat, and gives the woman money for a new one. The woman looks at Jindai confused, but remains quiet as they leave in a limo hovercar to the Plaza district. At the Royal Palace, Colonel Femi gets a transmission from Con 12L. Femi is pleased. She sees the twins, the prince and princess, running down the palace halls to Princess Ain's room. Femi follows and listens outside. Get out of here, you two! Ain protests. What are you two scheming now? We're gonna leave the palace. Wanna come with us? The twins ask. And take the blame? Ain asks. You're both insane. Suit yourself, the twins say as they leave Princess Ain's room. Colonel Femi enters as Ain talks to herself. I'm sorry, did I interrupt something? Femi asks. Ain is noticeably startled. They speak briefly. Ain explains that she's upset with her parents. Femi says that things aren't always so black and white. When Femi leaves, she leaves Ain's closet slightly open. Ain looks and sees a beautiful, glittering dress. Back in Cairo, Leandra, Mava, Jindai, and Vorsha enter the Plaza district. It's gorgeous, with elegant people in ornate outfits. Jindai's room is decorative and full of color. I never thought I'd see the inside of this building, Mava says. But then again, I never thought I'd come back here so soon. They pass by a fountain, and Leandra has a vivid memory of another fountain, more elegant than this one. Vorsha notices that Leandra is remembering something from her past. In Jindai's room, Jindai asks who they are. Mava doesn't say much, and Leandra tells Jindai she doesn't remember anything before being in the desert. Jindai assures them that if they want her help, they'll have to trust her. They dine together on a meal Jindai prepared. She explains how Cairo works, the districts, and that everyone ultimately serves Queen Rondage and the Pharaoh. Mava is surprised at how much she knows about Cairo, since she has lived there her whole life. Vorsha speaks of the artifact and the images they saw in the pyramids. Jindai is surprised to hear a talking amulet, and at that same time, fascinated. She books a hovercar out of Cairo with the help of her counterpart, Oksana, and they all go to sleep. Leandra wakes to darkness. Everyone is still asleep. She goes to the elevator balcony, fully windowed, and looks out at the mostly submerged city. She feels darkness all around and thinks about who she is. Leandra hears the elevator coming up from floor 12 while they are on floor 66. Mava walks up behind her. "Can't sleep?" Mava asks. "No. I want Jindai to trust me, but I feel bad I can't open up to her as much as she did with us," Leandra says. "I'm trying to remember, and at times I see flashes of the past. But for some reason, I just can't remember how I ended up in the desert." "Don't worry. Tomorrow we'll go to the monk village and figure things out," Mava says. "What about you, Mava?" Leandra asks. "What about after this? What will you do?" Mava stays silent, contemplating. Then they hear a ding, and the elevator reaches their level. It opens, and there is no one inside. Leandra feels a sinking sensation in her stomach. Con 12L drops down from above them. It throws Mava into the open elevator. The doors close, and it welds them shut. Leandra fights Con 12L in the elevator bay using her wind powers, but it is difficult to fight and almost impenetrable. "What are you?" Leandra yells as she starts running. She goes to the stairwell, and Con 12L follows. Leandra runs down the stairwell, but sees that below the 50th level, it's locked. She enters the 50th floor as Mava's elevator arrives. The other elevator door is open, but the elevator isn't there. Con 12L jumps down and pushes Leandra into the open shaft. Mava watches in horror as Leandra descends. Leandra grabs onto a ledge about 3 stories down. "Ugh!" She shouts. She sees Con 12L watching from above when it jumps down. "No!" Leandra shouts. "Wins!" She sees memories from her past. A huge tornado blows her up toward Con 12L. She draws energy from within herself, and her green aura lights up. The tornado lifts Con 12L too and breaks the glass of Mava's elevator. Mava jumps safely onto the elevator bay where they all land. Leandra uses her wind powers along with Mava's help to push Con 12L back into the open shaft. "Ugh, the elevator!" Mava shouts. "Right!" Leandra pushes the button to call it. When it arrives, they hear Con 12L pounding from underneath. Leandra presses the lowest floor she can, the basement. The elevator moves all the way down, where they assume Con 12L has been crushed. Mava says, slumping to the ground. "We did it! I can't believe it!" Leandra shouts, slightly winded. "Well, if I had powers like you, I'd probably be a little more confident," Mava says. "You never know," Leandra replies. The 2 women take the stairs back up to the 66th floor, where they see Jindai waiting with some other residents. They explain everything that happened. "We're safe for now," Leandra says. They return to Jindai's room, still shaken, and eventually fall asleep. While they're asleep, Jindai wakes and goes to check on her coworker, Oksana, who's in her penthouse suite on the top level. Jindai presses the door panel to alert her. Oksana is talking to someone when she gets the incoming ring. Jindai sees Oksana's face on the screen. "Come in," Oksana tells her. "Thanks," Jindai says, entering the room. The 2 of them converse for a minute. "Just making sure you're okay," Jindai says. "Why wouldn't I be?" Oksana asks. "Oh, no reason. I better head off to bed. We're still on for tomorrow, right?" Jindai asks. Oksana smiles gleefully. Oh, your little friends. Yes, about that. What, is something wrong? Jindai asks. They need me for one more show. I can't send the caravan right now. Taxis are too risky. Oksana replies. Are you sure there's no other way? Jindai asks. They really need to get home. Oksana gives Jindai a piercing scowl and replies, Get out of my room! Jindai feels afraid of Oksana and knows better than to push too far. She remembers hearing stories about Oksana's fierce anger. I understand. Thank you anyway, Jindai says, leaving. Jindai stands in front of the elevator shaft. What do I tell them? She asks herself. She goes back to her room and goes to sleep. In the morning, Jindai explains what happened during her conversation with Oksana. Something ain't right, Mava says. That may be true, but either way, we need to find a way back, Leandra says. I have to go. Here's some money for a cab. You have my telesponder digits, Jindai says. Keep in touch, you guys. Jindai leaves the room. They stand in the elevator bay. Mava suggests they find a different way home, but not through the same places they went before. They end up at the Cobra Palace, where the guards are hesitant to let them in. No bizarre jewelry, the guard tells Leandra, looking at Vorsha's amulet in her hand. Leandra feels puzzled about what the guard is talking about. The guard points at Vorsha's amulet. Vorsha speaks to Leandra in her mind. Don't worry. I think they're worried about the crystal in my amulet, as crystals are usually used to power up weapons. Just pretend to throw my amulet away in the bin outside, and I'll find my own way in. Okay, fine, Leandra says out loud. Okay, fine what? The guard asks. Fine, I'll just throw it away out here. I got it for free anyway, Leandra explains. She puts Vorsha's amulet down next to a nearby trash bin, but pretends to throw it inside. Leandra, are you sure? Mava asks. She looks at the guard's expression, which seems suspicious. I mean, I thought it was a special piece of jewelry for you. Leandra opens her eyes wide, then says, Trust me, it's not a big deal. Mava recognizes Leandra's expression and doesn't question her any further. Okay, we're ready. The guard reluctantly allows them in while Vorsha's amulet remains outside. Inside is an immense, diverse palace. The lighting is dim, with decorations all around made to resemble original Egyptian tombs and scenes of Egyptian life. There is a bar where everyone is dressed in traditional ancient Egyptian clothing. They talk to some of the workers and patrons and find out that this place is constantly visited by the pharaoh's people. In a nearby closet, they find new, fancy outfits and put them on. Outside, Vorsha hovers around the Cobra Palace, keeping herself hidden. She descends through a ventilation shaft that leads to the upper level of the palace and lands in an empty room. On a telesponder, she sees a transmission from somewhere near Cairo, a freighter flying past the city borders. Vorsha becomes excited and realizes this could be their ticket out of the city. Back at the bar, Leandra feels the waning of energy emanating from Vorsha's amulet. They make their way upstairs to the room where Leandra hears Vorsha's sound. It's locked, and Vorsha can't open it either. Can't you become your regular form and open it? Leandra asks. Let me try, Vorsha replies. Vorsha transforms into her corporeal state and attempts to open the door. but at first she can't. I can't, you guys. Ah! Vorsha tries again and again, but fails every time. Come on, Vorsha. We need you. Leandra whispers through the door. Vorsha concentrates all her energy and sees her hand briefly mold into a physical form. She immediately presses the door panel and opens the door for Leandra and Mava. After that, Vorsha's hand quickly dissipates back into her energy form. Look what I found, Vorsha says, pointing at the screen. Leandra and Mava watch. The freighter system? Mava says. In the industrial district. Can we leave the city on one of those? Vultures! Mava exclaims. If we get caught, they'll turn us into batteries. Why batteries? Leandra asks. You really don't know anything, do you? Mava states. What do you mean? Leandra asks. Those things we use called cells, they're drained from living people, Mava says with assertion. What? Leandra asks. How? We're dealing with powers greater than yours, or hers for that matter, Mava says, pointing to Vorsha. I'm sorry, Mava, Leandra says. I had no idea. Don't be sorry, Mava states. Unless you're the one who did it. Leandra emphatically shakes her head. Instead of arguing, maybe we could do something about it. Vorsha asks. Mava and Leandra look at her amulet. I think I can get us inside there. I've been studying the gods, their timing, and how the freighters dock. It shouldn't be difficult getting in. Well, the only question now is, how do we get to the industries? Leandra asks. They all stand around thinking. Mava notices a blinking light on the telesponder and reads the text. A transport will be heading toward the Bentar building soon, Mava states. That place is dangerous. Dark agents and the Cairo army go there all the time. I still have these outfits we found at the store called Fajul, Mava, Leandra says, pulling clothes from her backpack. Hanging around you two is like a suicide wish, Mava states. Okay, let's do it. They change and leave the Cobra Palace, with the guards looking at them oddly as they go. They head to the Bentar building and enter a place called the Gemstone Cafe. The guard gladly lets them in, and they get settled. They overhear thugs talking about the Cairo government. The Pharaoh is looking for some guardian Rana Mak, says one of the thugs. Where she came from, nobody knows. I heard she's from the desert, another thug says. The friend she's with is a huge wanted criminal called Mava, a different thug adds. Mava takes a deep breath and looks at the huge aquarium surrounding them. Vorsha is infatuated with the fish swimming inside. It's okay, Leandra says. It's all in the past now. She touches Mava's shoulder. At the royal palace, Colonel Femi drops a hunk of metal on the ground. What a worthless piece of crap! Femi yells. Femi's wristband wanes with light. Pharaoh? What is going on with the Guardian and her friend? The Pharaoh asks angrily. They're almost apprehended. I'll be up there soon, Femi states. Colonel Femi walks up the palace tower stairs. At the top, she passes Princess Aine's door. Aine is trying on the dress Colonel Femi left in her closet earlier. Aine glances over and notices that Femi can see her wearing it. Aine looks at Femi with vulnerable eyes. Aine, Femi asks, did I startle you? No, you didn't. Ain says, looking down at herself and the dress. What a beautiful dress, Femi says.
I know. I wonder where it came from.
Ain asks. That kind of threading, I don't know, Femi says. All I know is that dress is fit for a queen, Femi adds. She leaves the doorway and continues upstairs, where she runs into the twins again. If you're planning on bothering Ain, she's busy, Femi says.
Are you going to stop us if we do?
The twins ask. Of course not. I'm not royalty, Femi says. What's that in your hands?
None of your business,
the twins say in unison.
We're going to show our sister.
Colonel Femi stands silently, lost in thought for a moment. Good idea, Femi replies as she continues up the staircase. Back at the Gemstone Cafe, Mava and Leandra talk in the bathroom. What have we gotten ourselves into? Leandra asks. Even if we go back to the monk village, what will happen then? Leandra continues. As if that place is safe to begin with. You two are wanted more than ever, it seems, Vorsha states. What did they mean when they said guardian? Leandra asks. There are people with great powers, and I'm guessing you're one of them, Mava says. Great powers? Leandra asks. Could they also be talking about Vorsha? I doubt they know about me, Vorsha says. Same here, Mava says. The sound of a transport ship can be heard in the distance. They look out the window and see a huge ship approaching. Leave this to me. You two follow shortly after, Vorsha states. Right, Leandra and Mava say together. Vorsha glides through the bar to the front and hovers along the side of the building. Hey, whose amulet is that? The bartender asks. A group of guards follow Vorsha's amulet. Vorsha moves all the way to the tip of the ship, with Leandra and Mava following close behind. They sneak onto the ship when no one is looking. Vorsha is briefly surrounded by guards, but she slips through a drain pipe, travels around the building inside the pipe, and ends up back at the tip of the ship. She hovers onto the ship with Leandra and Mava. They hide behind cargo containers and talk quietly until the ship departs toward the industries.